You do not need fancy glasses or fancy computers or even fancy indicators to understand the idea of expansion, contraction, expansion. We talked about it here live on the stream today, the idea of waiting for expansion. What does that mean when I say waiting for expansion? I know it sounds funny, like, okay, yeah, what kind of bullshit you got to sell me? I'm not trying to sell you anything, actually. I'm just trying to explain a couple things, right? We know that the market likes to move into waves. It moves in waves. If you've been a trader, you've been around the market long enough, you know that the market basically does this. You know, it does this, it does this, doesn't do that, but it does stuff, right? Normally when you're making a move up, you get that move, it retraces, it makes that. Obviously that's a beautiful trending day, right? We like when it's trending beautifully like that. Picture perfect scenario. Well, even if you look at in a downtrend, let's say where market's going down, well, there's like these moments of like consolidation, and those levels aren't always like, perfectly up, perfectly down, perfectly up, perfectly down. No, sometimes they're, like kind of doing all kinds of silly things. So when I really want to look for where to enter, what's my overall plan, like what do I want to be doing looking for a trade? We get down to the pivot point there at the 340s. Perfect. We're at the 340 pivot point. You can clearly see that turned into support there at open. And then we made a higher low actually off of that pivot and started to have this move up. So we talked about it on the live stream. This idea, a lot of people were very bearish, I would say, very bearish here, thinking that we were going to sell down and make this move back down here, which, in theory, I guess you can say the setup was there for that move down. But again, we don't need to be right? Like we don't need to be right in terms of where the market is going. We need to be right on our entries and our exits and understanding the overall momentum, the trend. What is the market doing? Is the market wanting to move higher? Is it moving down? And vice versa. So this setup here today, the very simple idea, right? We expanded down here. We start to consolidate, right? So now we're looking at it like, okay, we got resistance there. We got pivot point there. If we're going to expand, well, there's a good chance that we're going to expand up like that. And well, as you can see, not just sitting here in hindsight, but guess what? It ended up doing exactly like we talked about earlier on that move. But again, you can see these little levels like where it kind of like gets to a point where it's going to pull back. It's almost like guaranteed that you're going to kind of get these little flat spots where it kind of consolidates before that next leg. But I mean, that's just part of kind of the price action in the move in general. So when I'm really looking for a trade, I want to be able to ask myself, like, are we breaking out of a kind of setup? Like, is there something happening for me to want to get long? And we talked about this 17,400 level live on YouTube. So we break out through that 17,400 level, but look, then we crash right back down. We retested it and then made that big move up. Perfect example, right? Breaking out here. Look at how we basically just went sideways from 1220 till 1240. So this level right here, sideways. So just little, this is a little kind of hesitation, consolidation level before the next. Really what you need to ask yourself is, are you entering in a consolidation zone? Like, are we in a channel? Are we going sideways? Or are we entering in a level that we know there's kind of a target, a spot for the market to move to next? And you can see like kind of the breakout here. We consolidate, another breakout, more consolidation. I think anytime we get a deeper pullback, like a good pullback into previous area of resistance and vice versa, well, what do you get? You get a lot better of an opportunity, right? You have this area here to get long. We pulled back into that resistance. So instead of getting only long up here, now you've got another 30, 40 points before the breakout. And look, there's that breakout. We break through the high there. So if you're long on this pullback, this kind of breakout setup there, you get all of that expansion. So the biggest thing you got to remind yourself is, number one, being able to identify, are we in that consolidation zone? You can go to a bigger time frame as well. Go to the 15-minute chart. You guys, like, it's not rocket science. 15-minute chart, pull it up, look at it. Oh, wow, okay. You can see a lot of these candles is kind of stuck in the same area, not really going anywhere. That's clearly a consolidation area. We're consolidating. We are pushing up, but we're just consolidating here. And until we kind of clear this 15-minute structure there above that level, well, there's probably not much really to do. So we break out there and then look, do. Again, remember the wave, all right? We talked about it earlier, and there, it's still going. The move is happening. The waves aren't perfect. It's not always textbook, you know, like perfectly wavy. Favorite thing for me, I've already talked about this a million times, is that 15-minute setup, right? The 15-minute breakout strategy. Again, today, it worked beautifully. I mean, it just works. It's not rocket science, but it works, right? Like, it just works. I don't know why it works, but it just works. You can see here the opening range. Here, we ended up pushing from the 70s all the way to the 40s for like a 60-point push. We then pulled back into that 15-minute range to chop around here, consolidated at that 15-minute range, opening range right there. The first 15-minute candle, you just draw your high, your candle right there, and look at that. We turned the 15-minute chart set up there, the 70s all the way up there to the 569s now. So a absolutely massive move. And another reason that I love the 15-minute setup. The problem is, like always, is being able to survive through all of this shit. This is like 100% just kind of creating, you know, liquidity, manipulation there, kind of popping that up, dropping it back down, manipulating it, getting a better price, creating liquidity, getting shorts to pile in there as well. You know, shorts are like shorting here, thinking we're going to move down. We start to break out, and then there's that momentum. Look at that thing. Still going higher, 17,577. Wow. Let's go, baby. So the idea, 15-minute chart, the expansion, just be patient, my friends. The more that you can be patient, like look at how much better this price action is here on this breakout when it starts to push it up. Just look at how much, look at that. Oh my baby Jesus. Through the pivot point there. Green off the charts. Beautiful move here. What is happening? Why does it not happen in the morning when I need it to happen? But here it is now. The very simple idea. If the market is going sideways, stay the fuck out of it, because you know that there's going to be a point where we're going to make that next move. We're going to either expand, you know, kind of expand up or down, break out of that channel, and then it's going to happen. And then you can see today, I mean, the channel here with the pivot points almost. The pivot points clearly bottom top of that move. We break out through the 500s. We're up 75 points now. I mean, it's not rocket science. Being able to identify basically these areas where the market's in this rectangle, this consolidation zone, and then knowing that, like, okay, like if we get a move out of this level, then I'm looking, you know, for continuation. If we're stuck in that level, then I expect it's going to continue to chop and continue to just kind of chop around in that level. And well, here today, the 15-minute chart showing us the move, this breakout there through the 445s up there to the 575. Now we got a pivot point up there at the 650s as well. So right now, Apex is 80% off one-day pass. If you guys want to learn more about Apex, it's all right there below, link down below. Use the code PW. Check out the live streams live every morning at 9 a.m. I'll talk to you guys later on. Just a little tidbit of information there.